Hi there. So I've added a new product to my Eurorack power solutions. This is really for anyone who wants to maybe power a Eurorack module on the bench, first thing I grabbed, or perhaps have a small case and build your own case and come up with a power solution for it. I already make a few Eurorack power supplies. This one's the NANO USB to Euro, which takes a USB B and turns 5 volt and turns that into your plus minus 12. And there's a bigger kind of version of that, which is just the USB to Euro. But these two require a 5 volt adapter, but with 3 amp, which is at the upper limit really of what kind of DC 5 volt adapters will supply. Also, it's just more common really to have something like this one here or this one lying around the house. So I think it's great that you can kind of recycle some of these old power supplies and actually use them for a little standalone case or just a DIY test setup. So the power supply takes a DC 2.1 millimeter barrel, and it's center positive, and I'm going to include them with these cables as well, just so that people who are, and you'll see later on, installing these inside cases, it makes it super easy later on to then wire that up to another DC socket. You could change the adapter. Maybe you've got a 2.5 mil, but the standard one's 2.1. Yeah, and then put that in your case, and it makes it really easy to wire. These ones were kind of designed, and when I made some cases they fitted so this was right at the edge of the case, which worked nicely. But this is a bit more of a flexible solution. So there's a couple of LEDs on the PCB. Sorry this isn't coming in focus, but I'm doing my best. To tell you that all your rails are working. They're short circuit protected, so if you accidentally plug something in wrong, these will kind of just turn on and off, and pretty safe. The voltage range that you can put into it is anywhere from 9 volts to 18, which is quite wide. Don't use a guitar pedal, which will have the opposite polarity, which will be center negative. These are center positive. So I've got a couple of examples here. So when you're looking out for that, what you want to look for is here. I'm just going to see if I can find a way to zoom and actually make this. Oh wow, that worked way better. Can you see here on the IP, whatever, just below that little, we've got a symbol, got a posi symbol and a negative, and the negative goes to the sleeve, which is like a crescent, and then the positive is going to the tip. Similarly, they usually look pretty similar. There we go. Yeah, pretty universal. So that's what you're looking for to begin with. You'll know it's compatible, and then you're looking at the voltage. So we've got an 18 volt one here, so that's within our range, and then we've got another one here which is 15 volts, so that's within our range. If I had a 9 volt one, we'd probably be looking then for something with around 1.5 amps at the very least. You always want a bit more ampage if possible, but with this I've got, this one's a bit overkill. These power supplies are fantastic, medical kind of grade ones that I'll use for my main system. So it's overkill, but it's nice, to have some good quality stuff. You see, this would provide 3.3 amps, which is plenty, way more than it really needs. And these are pretty spenny. I think these work at about 30 pounds, maybe 35. So, maybe save that for your main case. But I've got something here which works fine, and this is 2.4 amp, and I think these work at about £15. But I'm just going to show you it plugged in. Here's one of the Meanwell power bricks already plugged in, and we're going to take that 2.1 mil centre positive male jack and put it into the female, and then you can see, zoom again, that worked well last time. Hey, there we go. We've got a -12 and a +12, and they're coming from this power brick. And this one adapter, unlike the USB version which had 5 volts already, I've had to add a little regulator just to give you a 5-volt rail if you need it. It's quite unusual these days. Normally modules will have that built in, but there you can see it all on. There's a couple of standoffs. So the next part of the video is going to be me installing it. In this case, I'm not going to bore you with me drilling it and stuff, but this case was made by my friend Aidan, who runs Damaru cases in Bristol, and we've collabed on a couple of things before. We made a really great USB powered case using one of these USB to Euro power supplies. And yeah, in our discussions, you know, we realised that although this is kind of cool as a desktop, you know, tester for Eurorack modules, really for a small small case, it would be nice to have something that was DC input as well. You know, specifically, you know, because then we can, you know, start to use some of these really nice high quality things. So yeah, anyway. Blah 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 blah. But just if anyone's looking for a good female socket to use with them, these are made by Cliff Electronics here in the UK, and you can find them, I think, at Switch Electronics online. Again, these are a bit overkill. You know, the ampage that these all handle is massive, but they're made really well, and I found that yeah, they don't, I haven't had one break on me yet. So yeah, next part of the video just be me putting one of these in and then using the DC cable that I was saying about earlier that's included. I'm going to wire that to here, solder that to here once I've shortened it, and then have this mounted inside. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and do that, and then the next part of the video will be a little bit about me rambling about that. Anyway, onwards and upwards, here we go. Okay, so I've made this little custom cable using that DC socket and the DC cable. Make sure that the polarities are correct, so you might want a multimeter to do this. Well, you will, yeah, you'll definitely want a multimeter, just to make sure that you're going tip to tip and then sleeve to sleeve. There will be one pin left over on a lot of DC sockets, and that's to do with the fact that there's a switching kind of option with a lot of them. Anyway, so I'm just going to get this installed now. Okay, so I've got that in place, and then I can kind of get a bit more of an idea of where this is going to sit now. Maybe made the cable a little bit too long, but it's easier to cut it off than to stick it on, as they say. So I'll probably just mount it in the middle, and then I can fold this back up into the corner quite nicely. So the next job's, yeah, to drill. I think I'm going to just flip it over, mark out some holes with some masking tape, and then yeah, drill it from the back side, because that will avoid scratching or damaging any of the front. So I'm just going to show you a really quick way to mark it out. If you get a bit of masking tape and just go somewhere near the middle like that, and then I measured this a minute ago, it's 12 across. So just really doing this kind of roughly. You know, I'm not going to spend all day on this, but that'll mean 6 is going to leave that centre. So I'm going to just aim for the middle of the board being a little bit up like that. 6. Yeah, somewhere as close as down Mr. Swearing. And then hold it down firmly. And then just mark it with these. Make sure it doesn't slip when you're marking it, otherwise you'll end up with a load of misaligned holes. I recommend drilling 2, making sure it fits nicely first, then drill the other 2, because it might be easier to adjust it if you get it really wrong. So yeah, you can see that's somewhere close. Next I'll get that drilled. So I've drilled a couple of holes, and I've used some 2.5 10mm. So if you're going to be mounting the power board to something that's non-conductive, you know, insulating, you should be able to get away with, you know, having kind of a smaller screw. If you're going to have something that's, say, a metal case, you're going to want to use some standoffs just to make sure that none of these pins, you know, short. So yeah, I've got that there, and we've got a couple of these M 2.5 nylon nuts. I recommend using nylon nuts rather than just normal ones, because things shake apart over time, and this is good. That'll just make sure that once you've done it up, it's done for good. So yeah, next job will just be popping the board in. Okay, something like that. There we go. And I'll take one of these, just do it on, put it on finger tight. And then once it's on there, sorry, my hands are a bit shaky at the moment. Anyway, yeah, I'll pop it on there, and then I've got a couple of tools, so I'll just get on with that. Now I'm happy that power board secured in. I'm going to just leave it at 2 screws. I'm here for a good time, not a long time. So I'm going to plug that in. Oh, I didn't think about it, did I? Really didn't think about that. So yeah, there you go. This is why I should have tested this here a bit more first. So it looks like I'm making all the mistakes, so you don't have to. I should have left this plugged in. Obviously I've not left myself any room to plug it in now, or so now I've got the power supply mounted. More luck than judgment that I was able to get the cable in there. I've bent it over, so maybe just connect it up before you mark out your positions for mounting the power supply, but got away with it. So yeah, and whilst I was doing that, we've had a power cut, but I think this is quite fortunate really, because it's got me outside, and I'm not going to do any other work today, well, until we've got some power. But what I am going to have a think about is turning this into a little field recording system. So I went in my big box of prototypes, and I found this old version of the U-tape scrubber, which I'm going to connect up with a intercom mic. So we've got a condenser mic and a headphone output, and then I made my own flying cable. This is a bit of a hack, you know, rather than a flying bus cable, it's just a flying cable. Probably a little bit naughty, I'm sure some people wouldn't agree with it, but it does the job, especially for a really shallow case like this. So next job, just going to get this installed, and just before you plug in any modules to the power supply, just double check that you've got everything wired up correctly. So I'm using one of these awesome, I want to say thanks to the guys at My Volts, who gave me this step up adapter to try. It takes kind of PD 5 volts and then amazingly turns that into 15 volts up here. So I'm going to plug this into the back, and then get that plugged into the and it'll work with a lot of different power banks, but this is the one that they sell, and it can supply 3 amps at 5 volt. I think I might have mentioned that earlier. So this works really well with my USB to Euro power supply as well. But in this case, we're doing some funny things really. We're going from 5 volts to 15 volts, and then the 15 volts is being turned to plus minus 12, and then we're using that again to produce a 5 volt rail there. So it's a bit of a roundabout way, but just interesting to show it's all working. So we've got the 3 LEDs there that show you plus 5, minus 12 and plus 12 rails, all working fine. So next job is just to get these modules mounted. So that's everything installed now, and just to show it working, got a little tape in the U-tape scrubber, and I've been just recording some loops with that, but I think that's enough for today. I'll make another video on this system and using it as a field recorder. I got gifted a bag by a friend, so I'm gonna turn that into a field recording bag. I'm going to load it up with contact mics, condenser mics. I've got this super unidirectional condenser mic to try out field recording, and yeah, I can put my headphones in there and everything else. But that'll be another video. But yeah, thanks for checking this out, and if you'd like to buy one of these Eurorack power supplies, just head over to my website, and yeah, they ship all over the world. Cheers now, bye.